I'm J.M. Hirsch, food editor for the Associated Press, and we are at the 10th anniversary of the South Beach Wine and Food Festival. And I am in with the man behind the festival, the Vice President of Southern Wine and Spirits, Lee Schrager. Thank you so much for taking the time.
My pleasure to be here on this gorgeous afternoon.
It hasn't always been this way, though. This is year 10.
This is year 10, right.
And you started off with 600 people and something called the Florida Extravaganza.
The festival, as we know it today, started on the campus of Florida International University. It was a one-day event. We used to call it a small wine and cheese party in a tent, and attracted about 600 people.
Okay, and I'm thinking the campus is not as picturesque as South Beach.
Somehow that's a good observation.
Well, how did we get here? Because, it's been compared to the Sundance and Super Bowl combined of the food world. And how did we get from 600 people to, what is the tally for this year?
53,000.
Wow.
I went to Aspen for the beautiful classic that Food and Wine magazine presents about 11 years ago, and I remember arriving there for the first time and thinking, wow, this is so amazing, this setting between the mountains and the beautiful weather. And I said the only thing that would be more beautiful than that would be to take that and put it on the beautiful beaches of South Beach, right on the Atlantic, and hence, 10 years later, we have the Food Network South Beach Wine and Food Festival.
Now, they didn't hire you knowing, Southern Wine and Spirits didn't hire you knowing that this is what you were going to create. And as I understand it, you came at this a man without a plan in some ways. What was the conversation like when you said to them, I think we can turn this 600 people into at least a few more?
I don't even know that there was a conversation. I mean, I work for people who, I didn't even have a job description when I started at Southern in 2000. I really didn't. I mean, I was kind of hired. I showed up for work on the first day, and there was no office for me, which was not shocking. I kind of, I remember, after working on the Florida Extravaganza, saying, there's much more that we can be doing. And after seeing Aspen is when I really said, I think we should move this to South Beach. And Southern was all about it. I mean, they didn't disagree. I don't know that they agreed, they didn't disagree. The university had some trepidations.
Really?
How can we not do it at the campus and da-da-da? And I'm like, no one wants to be here. I said, listen, you have two choices. You can do it downtown for the university, and it will always be a mom and pop small event, or we can move it to South Beach, bringing the most famous chefs in the world, and have thousands of people. I don't think any of us thought that 10 years later would be 50-something thousand people.
Right. Did you have any talent at that first Florida Extravaganza? Was there anybody of note there?
No, there was nobody of note. On the third Extravaganza, I actually came in on Extravaganza 2.
Okay.
There'd been one before me. In the third Extravaganza, we actually did a one-night dinner called Women in Industry, and we had Michelle Bernstein cooking and Cindy Hudson cooking. It was really the first year of South Beach in 2002 that we really landed our big names, and that was Alain Ducasse and Gary Danko and Cindy Paulson from Mustard, so it was 2002 with the first festival.
Right. Now, it took you until 2007 to line up the Food Network.
The Food Network came aboard for our 5th anniversary, and they're people that we had talked to from the get-go. It seemed like, to me, a natural fit.
Right.
But I really think it took a while to get them down here. But it was once they got down here and saw it that they said, aha, we get it.
Right.
And it's been a great marriage ever since.
Right. And tell me some war stories from along the way, some of the trouble spots that you've hit. Because Anthony Bourdain says that you have stories to tell.
And Anthony would know. I don't know that they're, I mean, it's not even a matter of kissing and telling. I mean, there aren't really, you'd think with the personalities that we deal with, the sheer number of personalities that we deal with, that there would be. I mean, no, I mean, there's just, certainly our 5th year anniversary when we got rained out, the big bubble queue in year 2007, 2006, we got rained out. Our signature event where a half hour into it started drizzling and it turned into a monsoon. Obviously the Mario Batali story when Mario came down and we did the King of Spain dinner 2 years ago, I think in 2009, and Mario hosted it, and he got a little tipsy and shot off a few F-bombs in the presence of royalty, the King and Queen of Spain, which was, got us a lot of good PR.
Right.
Did not get us a lot of great respect from the Latin community here. Gordon Ramsay, we had a great Gordon Ramsay story years ago when he kind of showed up and disappeared and we never found him again.
And do you know where he went?
Nope. I know where he should have gone. I know where I sent him, but no, I don't know. No, to this day, I still don't know what happened.
Well, you know, Anthony Bourdain likens you in the introduction to your book, the South Beach Wine and Food Festival Cookbook, to essentially a mafia boss. And you know, and I have to say, it's not a bad analogy. I mean, you work behind the scenes, you pull a tremendous number of strings, and yet the reality is your name isn't common to the average Food Network viewer,
For sure.
or to the reader of
No,
food
none of that,
magazines.
no.
Is this a role that you had envisioned for yourself? I mean, you puppet master in many ways for a lot of the food community.
I don't know that I dreamed it. I didn't even know it existed. You know, I didn't even. You know,
Right.
I didn't go to school to become what I am today, whatever that may be. You know, I'm a BlackBerry.
Right.
You know, I'm a book of connections, and I'm a networker, and a schmoozer, and I put people together, and that's what this festival's been built on: relationships and giving your word and living up to it. And I
Right.
think that's what I do best. I have a great food and beverage background. I'm a chef by trade, and
Right, you went to the Culinary
I went to the
Institute, right?
CIA and graduated in '79. But they didn't have event management classes then, and there were no festivals. People didn't strive to be an event planner in the CIA.
Right.
They were going to be chefs. I never wanted to be a chef.
Right.
I wanted the background. So I think I was really able to take what I love best about, you know, I love cooking. You know, from an early young child, I loved cooking with my mom in the kitchen.
Right.
And I always had this amazing passion for putting things together. You know, even as a child, as a Cub Scouter or 4-H'er, I was always a guy putting together those groups or doing the outings and organizing the clam bakes and cutting the, you know, all of us would cut the grass, and it was
Right.
always me. I was kind of that leader. So the festival allowed me to kind of take my passions and really put it to something that I found terribly exciting, and 10 years later, I still do.
What's been the toughest get?
A vacation. Who's been the toughest get?
Yes.
God, that's a good one. I have to think back early. Who was a tough get? You know, in the early days, they were all tough.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I mean, we were fortunate in year one to have Ducasse and, you know, have Gary Danko, as I said, but
Right.
those were through friends of mine. You know, I'd have to say that maybe Emerald was a tough early
Really?
get. You know, you know, Emerald, his people, you know, clearly were not sending him down here unless they knew more about it. And
Right.
just not because I was a guy nudging and sending emails saying he should do it. I think until we got into that third year, until they finally felt comfortable and we got in some national attention,
Right.
was, you know, when they finally felt comfortable. And of course, you know, Emerald's our greatest supporter.
Right.
I'd have to say has done more for this festival than any one talent. You know, on a personal basis. He's been a huge supporter of what we do and a huge supporter of mine. You know, again, it was different 10 years ago, and I don't know that I would get on a plane and pack up and leave. You know, these chefs have busy restaurants. We don't pay anybody.
Right.
So I think that 10 years ago, getting people to do that was hard. 9 years ago it was hard. 8 years ago it was hard. It's still hard. It's just different.
Right.
You know, today when I call and say, you know, hey, it's Lee Schrager calling from the South Beach Wine and Food Festival, they know who I am,
Right,
and I can
right.
get through to somebody.
Right.
I don't always get yeses. Listen, you know, Thomas Keller's not been back here since our 5th anniversary, and I think we probably scared him away. I think we've become, you know, in his mind, probably very commercial. We're very associated with the network, and I don't
Right.
think he views that as his audience, and I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. But I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see Thomas again, and
Yeah.
I'm disappointed because I think he's an extraordinarily talented chef, but, you know, there are lots of other names out there who do want to come.
Right.
You know, and great names. You know, I love, huge fan of Thomas Keller, but, you know, maybe we're not for him.
Right. You've already spawned the New York Wine and Food Festival, which is now going into its third year.
Going into its 4th year in
Fourth year.
2011.
Where next? I know
LA.
You've been going to LA a
Sure.
lot.
Yep, LA for sure.
Okay.
We're partnering with some people out there, and we may even have a deal signed this weekend, but we'll
Really?
be, absolutely, we are ink away.
And when will we see that first festival? When
This
will-
September, believe
This
it or not.
September?
Yes.
Now, isn't that like about a month shy
Don't
of the
ask.
New York?
You know what? I am clearly not having that same role. I'm not the director. I'm not founding it. I'm not
Okay.
putting. I am more as a consultant.
Okay, all right. And beyond LA, where after that? Because I know you said in one interview that you hope to have them across the country.
Well, I may have hope, but it's not going to happen. Not with me. I have to tell you, the LA one will kind of round me out,
Right.
and I think that, you know what, let somebody else go and do it. I'm not afraid. I'm not, if somebody else can do it, go for it.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Really
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me and supporting us all these years.
Thank you.